let me use Pythagorean theorem to introduce distance formula, and then I will also talk about midpoint formula. So let's start from the left. We have a right triangle. By the way, the Pythagorean works for right triangle only. What is a right triangle? Right triangle means this angle measurement is 90 degrees. So this is a right triangle. I have three lengths, A, B, and C. The relationship between these three lengths is A squared plus B squared equals to C squared. This is called Pythagorean theorem. And then we use this Pythagorean theorem to draw the distance formula. So the distance formula, I have 2 points on the xy plane. The first point is right over there. The coordinate is x1 comma y1. And then the second point is right over there. The coordinate is x2 comma y2. And I am looking for the distance from point 1 to point 2. Now, we have to employ the concept of Pythagorean theorem. So first of all, this is a straight line, right? And then I am going to draw a point right over here, and then this point is like this point. So this point, and then from this point, from this corner to x1, y1, I will just call this A, and then the distance from this point to x2, y2, I will just call this a B. And then this is a right triangle. This is a right triangle. So I will be using the Pythagorean theorem. But first of all, can you tell me what is the length of B? How do you calculate the length of B? So to calculate the length B, I am going to use x2 minus x1. So x2 minus x1. That is written right over here. What is the purpose of using absolute value? The purpose of using absolute value is because that is a length, and length cannot be negative. So that's why I use x2 minus x1. And then now take a look. For the length A, I use y2 minus y1. You might be asking, hey, y2 is less than y1. When you take y2 minus y1, that is going to be negative. Right, you're right, that is going to be negative. That's why we use an absolute value. So when you put an absolute value over there, the value becomes positive, which makes sense because length must be positive. Now, using the Pythagorean theorem, do we agree that the square of A plus the square of B is equals to the square of D? So let's don't look at the distance formula right now. Let's just bring this Pythagorean theorem to this simple number 3, 4, and 5. And once again, this works for right triangle only. So we have a 3 square plus 4 square, right? What is that equal to? That is equals to 9 plus 16, which is equals to, let's make that look like plus 16. So 9 plus 16, that is equals to 25. 25 is equals to 5 square. And then what is the Pythagorean theorem? The Pythagorean theorem is c squared equals to a squared plus b squared, right? And then when you look at the distance formula, you might be asking, hey, where is the square for d? And here is where. So when you take the square root on both sides, you have c equals to the square root of a squared plus b squared. You took the square root on both sides to get rid of the square for c. And then if you still ask me, hey, the second power is even, there should be a plus or minus. Is this correct? Yes, you are absolutely correct. For second degree, fourth degree, sixth degree, you will have to use a plus or minus when the power is even. But how come the plus or minus is absent? Because we are talking about length, and length cannot be negative. So that's why it is not necessary to use the plus or minus. Now, we have c equals to the square root of a squared plus b squared. And what is the length of a squared? A squared is just y2 minus y1, and then the b square is x2 minus x1. Now, is the order matters? Can I just put y2 minus, can I swap x2 minus x1 and y2 minus y1? Absolutely yes, because you are adding two values. So let's say 1 plus 2 is the same thing as 2 plus 1, right? So that's why you can swap the position of x2, x1, and y2 and y1, but you will have to use x minus x and y minus y. And how do we get this square? This square is from here, the a square and a b square. So now we have a distance formula. So the distance formula tells you when you are looking for the distance between 2 points. So imagine this, you have a piece of blank paper. you draw 2 points on that piece of paper. When you connect those 2 points, the connection must be a straight line, right? So this is the distance between 2 points. So from point A to point B, you draw a straight line, and then you can use this formula to find the distance between those 2 points. Okay, so let's put this on an example. I have an example. I have 2 points. The first point is negative a comma 6. The second point is 4 comma negative 2. I don't need any graph. So the first step is I will just label them. So I will just call this x1, y1, and then call this x2, y2, and then I will just apply the formula. So let's apply the formula. We have the formula. So d is equals to the square root of x2 minus x1, which is 4 minus negative 8, and then square, plus negative 2 minus 6 square. Now, can I swap the negative 2 and negative 6? Yes, that is okay. You can call this a 0.1 and the other one 0.2. It is okay, but you cannot mess up the x1 and y1. So x1 comma must follow with a y1. I haven't seen anybody use x1 comma y2. So don't be the first person. I haven't seen these mistakes so far. All right. And then 99.9% of people will just call the first 0.1 and the second 0.2. All right. So what is that equal to? So that is equals to, you have 4 plus 8, which is 12. 12 square is what? 12 square is 144, and then plus 8 square is 64. So 144 plus 64, that is equals to 208, right? So that is equals to 208. So the distance is equals to square root of 208, and I will just leave that as the square root of 208 and not simplify any further. Now, oh, by the way, when you are doing homeworks online, if they don't accept answers like that, then you have to work out the square root, all right? And then for the midpoint formula is pretty easy to understand. It's just taking the average of the 2x and taking the average of 2y. So you add up the 2x divided by 2, add up the 2y divided by 2. A very simple example is I have from 0, 0 to 8 comma 0. So if you put this on the xy plane, this is a horizontal line, right? So that's a horizontal line on the x-axis. And then what is the middle of this point? The middle of this point is easy, common sense. Between 0 and 8, the middle is 4, right? So this point is 4 comma 0. And then to calculate that, I will just use 0 plus 8 divided by 2, and then 0 plus 0 divided by 2. The coordinate is 4 comma 0. And then how about the midpoint of this example? The midpoint of this example would be, so you would be taking negative 8 plus 4 divided by 2, and then 6 plus negative 2 divided by 2. So what is that equals to? That is equals to negative 4 divided by 2, comma 6 minus 2 is 6 minus 2 is 4, so 4 divided by 2, so you are end up getting negative 2, comma 2. So that is the midpoint between the two given points. All right, so we just introduced the distance formula. We draw that using the Pythagorean Theorem, and we also introduced the midpoint formula. That is the end of this video. If you like the way I teach this material, give me a thumbs up, a subscribe. Truly appreciate your help, and I will meet you all in the next lesson. Signing out.